Thank you, Mr. Chairman, and I want to thank our witnesses for your valuable testimony today. Ambassador Dowd and Ambassador Garish, welcome back. Thanks for your prior service, and thanks for this really impactful conversation today on trade. I want to address my comments regarding digital trade. I'm the current co-chair of the Digital Trade Caucus, and I've become alarmed by the growing spread of restrictive and oftentimes discriminatory digital regulatory frameworks and laws which have a direct negative impact on U.S. competitiveness. And Mr. McHale, in your opening, you addressed a number of these issues. During President Trump's first term in office, the United States made great strides in establishing ourselves as a driving force on digital trade, shaping market conditions and ensuring equitable competition. We now understand that digital trade is no longer a niche segment of our economy. It is a fundamental pillar of economic strength and global influence. And I would point to the digital trade chapters of USMCA and what we're able to put in there, really the gold standard in terms of requirements and standards and regulations put in place that help for the future as it relates to digital trade. Our leadership in setting fair and effective rules for digital trade went the wrong direction, in my view, over the last 4 years under the Biden administration. When it came to enforcement, we allowed the Communist Chinese Party to expand its global economic presence and promote digital trade policies that starkly contrast to our American values. We're all familiar with the Digital Silk Road and other initiatives they put in place in this space. Moreover, we've allowed and sometimes even encouraged the implementation of digital services taxes, or DSTs, and other taxes or regulatory frameworks that unfairly targeted U.S. businesses. I commend President Trump for signing an executive order recently to directly address the imposition of DSTs and defend U.S. businesses and workers. That is just the beginning, however, and we in Congress need to find ways to better support our digital trade sector and defend against many of the increasing threats being made to stifle U.S. economic growth. Mr. McHale, again, appreciated your comments in your opening statement. As we look at how do we focus on winning the strategic competition against the CCP, which has to be a priority. I serve on our Select Committee on China, which is a bipartisan group focused on how we win this competition. I think you do that in the economic space. But as I mentioned, I've become concerned over the last 4 years the United States has ceded the playing field to other nations, especially China, by stepping back on digital trade leadership. Could you speak to how increased internet fragmentation, including localization, localized data, may benefit Chinese companies such as Huawei, and how should this impact U.S. trade enforcement priorities?
Yes, thank you. Some of the key elements of our digital trade agenda were actually motivated by looking at what were the barriers that China imposed in its market that did prevent U.S. companies from effectively competing there. And so whether it's a data flow rule, whether it's a data localization rule, whether it's access to source code, whether it's discrimination on digital products, those were prevalent measures seen in the Chinese market that really hurt U.S. firms. And so the primary motivation was to make sure that is not replicated in other markets. Maybe we're not going to make a go of it in the Chinese market, but we want to make sure that the Chinese model does not get exported into other regions. I think our trade partners who want the U.S. Companies in their markets and want to engage with them understood that and embraced many of these key provisions. So if you look at TPP, which the U.S. ended up not joining, but those governments actually integrated those into their own provisions. And so it wasn't just about U.S. Tech companies or U.S. interests. It was really about them seeing it valid for themselves as well. So these are useful rules, and they certainly do serve as a bulwark against some of the Chinese efforts to restrict the data, to force localization, and access intellectual property, for example, source code.
Thank you. I have another question for you related to the EU, but I'm limited on time here. I'll submit that for the record, Mr. McHale. Thank you.